What's up guys, TheMainManSWE here, hoping you're all doing awesome as always, and this is gonna be yet another Tekken lecture by me. It's been a while since I made one last, so I thought I could try and get back a little bit to it. I've gotten a lot of requests to do something on throws, a brief introduction to throws. This is gonna be more for you beginners, maybe some intermediates. I think, yeah, as soon as you reach the latter part of intermediate ranks, you should pretty much know this. But yeah, I guess this is for anyone who'd like to watch it. So first things first, we have a default throws. You probably know this, you know, you press 2+4 or 1+3. Your character will do a default throw. And these are all 12, oh shit, this is a little bit too small. They are all 12 frames in speed. And on these throws, you have a pretty big break window. And they are all broken by pressing either 1 or 2. So that's square or triangle. And a pretty big window again. So this is in contrast. Many of you probably did not play Tekken Tag 2 or prior games. In those games, the break window was extremely small, and you had to actually press 1 to break 1+3 and press 2 to break 2+4. So throws were much stronger in previous games. But of course, throws are very strong in Tekken 7 as well, and we're going to talk about that. Command throws. So these are the default throws. And I do want to add to this, a lot of people don't know this, but if you press forward +2+4/1+3, you will notice that your character actually leans forward and extends his arms even further when he throws. This makes the throw slower and easier to break, but you get more range. But something a lot of people don't know is that the throw will now track to both sides. Throws are very linear, they're very easy to step. But if you press forward as you're doing it, it becomes slower, but you actually get tracking to both sides. So here you can actually play around with quite interesting setups, like you interrupt someone with a dick jab, let's say Hwoarang. And then immediately you press forward 2+4, because a lot of people like to sidestep after eating a dick jab. Well, this is probably high level, but it's very important to know that what happens if you press forward when you do a throw. So that's the default throw, and then I'm gonna show you guys in the bottom here. If you do 1+3, so this is left arm. This is lovely, right? What? That doesn't make sense. Left. Okay, thank you. Right. Then we'll do this. Okay, this is just so you can identify the different types of throw breaks. So to the far left, if the left arm, and this is gonna be applied for the command throws. Because again, at the top there you saw the default throws. They have those animations, you know, where if you press 1+3, the left arm leads. You see that to the far left there. The left arm extends further than the right arm. On a 2 break, that's 2+4, right arm leads, extended further than the left arm. 1+2, both arms simultaneously, identical to each other, grab out. They are symmetrical, both arms extended. So why is it important to know this if I can press just 1+2 to break 1+3, 2+4? Well, this is where we get into command throws. And this is where, in contrast, you know, to previous games where 2+4 needed a 2 break, 1+3 needed a 1 break, and then everyone had a 1+2 throw. In Tekken 7, the characters who have a large amount of command throws really stand out, because as soon as you're doing a command throw, the break window is super small and you have to apply the correct button. So for example, with Dragunov, if I don't do 2+4 the default throw, I press forward 2+4, which is a... sorry. I press forward 2+3 it is. Wow. Oh, you can... So I'm sorry, guys. There we go. Forward 2+4. Another example is forward 2+3. I'm sorry. Another example is with Nina. Is it down forward? It's a very strong throw. Down for 2+4. So suddenly this needs a 2 break, and this needs a 2 break, and the break window is very small suddenly. So that's why command throws really stand out in Tekken 7, because they're very hard to break compared to default throws. In Tag 2 and prior games, it was the same break window, small. So command throws, very important in Tekken 7. And it's interesting to note that someone who has a perfect throw game, like let's say Jin, Paul, and Dragunov, are characters that have command throws for each and every one of those breaks. 1, 2, 1+2. So for example, with Dragunov, we have a forward 2+3 for a 2 break. Let's exclude that. And we have forward 1+4 for a 1 break. And then, for example, forward 1+2 is a 1+2 break. So Dragunov has a perfect throw game. And this goes for a couple of characters, and it really makes them stand out, makes them very all-round. But you have to learn those if you want to become really good at throw breaks. I can't see those on reaction if the left arm leads or the right arm leads. But with command throws, I can at least see a 1+2 break every time, because I recognize that animation. It's so distinct, you know, both arms come at once. And then if I see that both arms are not coming at once, I'm gonna guess either 2 or 1, and then I'll try and remember my opponent's patterns. Does he use the same command throw every time if it's not a 1+2 break? A lot of people do this, but then you'll face really good players who mix up between all of those all the time, and suddenly it's very difficult. You know, it's difficult doing throw breaks. And we do have to mention that some characters, they break those rules, and it's Armor King and King. This 1+2 break, if you're fighting King, it actually turns into a 50-50, where it's either 1 or it's 1+2. For example, King, strongest throws in the game. A lot of people think Armor King is as strong because he has this mix-up. So what is this mix-up? The giant swing has the same animation as a 1+2 throw, and it's 10 frames fast, and it's a 1 break. I mean, good luck seeing the difference on that and King's Muscle Buster, which is quarter circle back 1+2. Exact same animation, but that's a 1+2 break. So versus King, you actually have to guess when you see both of those two arms come at once. He has a legit 50-50 there. And Armor King has that as well, but no other character can do that. So that's important to know. And speaking of King and Armor King, their Shining Wizard, that's forward 2+4, is broken by pressing 1+2. So that is good to know if you see King running towards you doing a throw. 1+2, of course, very advanced players are gonna run in and do a giant swing, but again, that's very high level. And it's interesting to note, that's very powerful, having command throws for every break. A lot of people, you know, they look at Gigas and they go like, oh, he's one of the strongest grapplers in the game because his his big command throw, he only has one. With the 1+2 break, it kills you. It does so much damage, and especially if you hit the wall, it's like half life. And that's correct. Does a shitload of damage. But he has no throws to mix that up with. So guess what everyone's gonna do when we see Gigas go for a throw? 1+2, every time. Because that's all you have. And if you're playing above intermediate level, everyone can see the difference between the 1+2 command grab and default throws. So it's like, Gigas is a weak grappler, actually. Dragunov is 50 times stronger at grappling than Gigas is. So that's very interesting to note. King is... people think Armor King and King are equally good at throws because Armor King also has all the different breaks. He has the Tombstone, he has the Giant Swing, he has the Shining Wizard, he has a Muscle Buster equivalent. But the difference is that King gets amazing Okiseme after all of his throws, in contrast to Armor King. And for example, when King has his back towards the wall, you know, both Armor King and King, if they have their back towards the wall, you know they can Giant Swing you into the wall, right? But you know what King can do? He can get your ass on the wall there for 1,000,000 damage with the 50-50 mix-up. Because he can Giant Swing you into the wall, but he can also, as a mix-up, up 1+2, grab you by your neck, throw you up on the wall. He can turn around with that, you've probably seen it. And then he Giant Swings you on the wall for 1,000,000 damage. It's like, and I'm not even getting into the chain throws or King's super strong ground throws. It's like, there's no comparison. King is by a mile the greatest grappler in Tekken. So again, try and practice those animations. You at least have to see the 1+2 break. Try and learn what kind of throws all the characters have, so you know what you have to be on the lookout for. Especially if you're facing King, Armor King, go for the one break. You can practice throws in practice mode, set the dummy to do the different animations. But the most important thing, and this is what I tell all my students, is use a lot of throws when you play Tekken. Like, a lot of people have this etiquette, you know, where throws are cheap. I don't do them. If you want to become a better player, like, throw away. You have to learn to set up throws yourself, and you know what? Spam throws on your next opponent. He's probably gonna be salty and he's gonna throw you back. And both of you have only to gain from this. He learns to try and dodge throws or break them, and so do you, because he's gonna try and throw you back, and that's where you practice those throw breaks. You wanna practice them on your feet in the heat of battle, you know, because practice mode is only gonna do so much. The rest comes from actually doing it in practice. No, sorry, practice. In an actual fight. So again, this serves as an introduction to throws. Throws are high, of course, they can be ducked. Very risky to do that. You have to learn to break them because you don't want to duck King. He has mids like down back 2 and hop kick to fuck you up. So learn to break throws. They are steppable, but again, if someone's adding a forward to a default throw, it tracks to both sides, but it's slower. 1+2 on default throws to break them both. Big break window. That's why we have command throws to make the break window smaller, and that's why command throws are so powerful in Tekken 7, you know. Whereas in previous games, as I said, normal throws had a small break window and the 1+2 respective break. Yeah, I hope this served as a basic introduction to throws. They are a very powerful tool to have to try and break turtles. If someone's blocking a lot, use throws. No matter if he breaks them a lot, he's going to be more stressed knowing that you're adding that mix-up on top of your offense. Even if someone's good at throw breaks, use throws. It's just, you want to add multiple dimensions to your offense to try and stress your opponent. He shouldn't be able to know what you're going to do next. So throws, really good to break turtles. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Have a nice day.